Correct. Good evening, everyone. The time is now 6 p.m. and the Spring Lake Board of Commissioners work session is now called to order. I would like to invite Pastor Marsh to the podium to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Please stand and join us if you choose to.
Good evening, good evening. Let us bow and pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, O God. We praise you for this day that you allowed us to see, O God, in the land of the living. We ask, O God, for your continued grace and your mercy that is sufficient for us as we continue to, O God, do the things that you've called us to do. Bless, O God, the commissioners, O God. Bless our mayors, O God, as they continue to, O God, lead this community. Bless our, oh God, first responders, oh God, and all those who are working, oh God, in this town to, oh God, make it a great place to live. We ask for your grace to be over our, oh God, community, oh God, in the name of Jesus, oh God. We ask for your divine protection from hurt, harm, and danger. And God, we give your name the glory, the honor, and the praise. In your Son, Jesus' name, we ask and we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Pastor. All right, I now call for additions and deletions to the agenda. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I'd like to add the 4th of July proclamation, please.
And that will be added to presentations. We'll do that after Yard of the Month. Are there any other additions or deletions? I now call for a motion to approve the agenda. Commissioner Chadwick?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Commissioner Palacios?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. There is a small adjustment to the agenda, so I'm sorry we didn't, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's a budget amendment BA 21,
Yes.
not BA 11, so my apologies for the late change. I'll now call for a motion to approve the consent items, the draft minutes of the June 9th, 2025 regular meeting, and budget amendment BA 21. Commissioner Palacios?
Second. I'm sorry.
Yep.
So moved.
So moved.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Commissioner Lackman?
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We did not have anyone sign up for public comments, so we will continue on with our first presentation. Commissioner Palacios, Yard of the Month.
Thank you, Mayor. So, of course, we honor our citizens for maintaining and upkeeping their property in a way that beautifies the town. Our winner for June was here at our last meeting, Larry Dobbins. But we didn't get have the certificate ready, so we'll have to get this to him. So our apologies, Mr. Dobbins. We'll get this certificate out to you. Thank you.
Congratulations to our former mayor.
Yeah.
And now we'll add our proclamation for Independence Day. And we all know the 4th of July is monumentally important to our country. I will not read the proclamation, but I wanted to make sure that we acknowledged Independence Day through a proclamation. So we will continue on with our new business. And this is the adoption. Adoption of the Town of Spring Lake budget ordinance for fiscal year 25-26. Mr. Rory?
Very briefly, Mayor, we have had multiple meetings on top of meetings and discussions, and we ultimately held a public hearing on June 9th and closed that public hearing with a few comments, but not a lot. And so tonight we're here trying to meet the statutory deadline to adopt a budget by July 1st. So we will be ahead of schedule if we're able to accomplish that tonight. But I thought I would just give you a quick briefing of what's in the budget ordinance, not in detail, but in your agenda package you have the budget message and you have the budget ordinance. But for the crowd, the audience, I want to make sure that we highlight what's in the budget ordinance. First and foremost, all of our budget this year was around 4 strategic focus areas. And we've had those. We've actually had our first follow-up meeting in terms of our focus groups last Wednesday night, and so we've got breakout groups established to start focusing and looking at the initiatives associated with these different focus areas. from sustainable water to revitalization of our infrastructure to having a safe and vibrant, healthy community, as well as economic development opportunities within the town of Spring Lake. With that, we proposed a budget, and the budget ordinance is highlighted as a general fund budget totaling $9,579,800. $9,579,000. We have revenues that are equal to that, so the general fund budget is balanced at $9,579,800. The other remaining funds are enterprise funds. They're business-like operations, so they have to be self-supporting in that the revenues have to cover the expenses, and they have to operate with some margin above the expenses to continue to feed into the system and support infrastructure improvements and things of that nature. First of that is the water and sewer expenditure. It's probably one of the largest. It includes the water operations department, the purchase of water, as well as the sewer department and the sewer plant. That totals out with revenues at $5,673,226, and expenses are balanced at $5,673,226. The water and sewer fund is a balanced budget. Another enterprise fund is the stormwater fund. We actually charge fees to all of our residents associated with the delivery of the stormwater services throughout the town of Spring Lake. It has revenues and expenses that are balanced at $543,000. So it too is a balanced budget as required by the general statutes. Sanitation fund expenditures, even though after this budget we'll have a little conversation about sanitation going forward and maybe some potential changes next year, we should go ahead and move forward with the adoption of the budget as stated in the budget ordinance. It too is a balanced budget with revenues and expenses equaling $931,940. Finally, in your budget ordinance, section 11 is the baby levies a tax rate at 74.1 cents per $100 valuation as of January 1, 2025. That will generate approximately $733 million in the tax digest, 386, and with an estimated rate of 98% collection. And so we can only estimate our collection rates based on last year's collection rate. So we can't kind of fudge that number 1% either way. It has to be grounded in what we collected last year and current year. With that, the budget is balanced. Stormwater, sanitation, water sewer fund, general fund, as required by the North Carolina General Statutes, specifically Statute 159. The budget has been presented, the budget message has been presented, and we're seeking adoption of the 2025-2026 Town of Spring Lake budget based on your motion and your approval.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rory. I know you guys have worked very, very hard and diligently getting this budget together. So I will not prolong it and entertain a motion to approve the Town of Spring Lake budget ordinance for fiscal year 2025-2026. Mayor Pro Tem.
So moved.
Commissioner Thompson.
I second.
Any discussion? Commissioner Palacios.
Thank you, Mayor. So we've had extensive talks about this budget, and I appreciate the work that's been put in by the town staff and the leadership team. I appreciate the work from this board as well. It goes a long way when we're able to communicate and have good conversations about it, even when we disagree about these topics. This budget will be a high tax threshold for our citizens. And so we're not shying away from that. We recognize that. But there are good plans in place for how we intend to execute on the town's vision. So if we go back to that slide, we don't have to go back to it. Just as a reminder, we beat this dead horse quite a bit, so I'm going to repeat it again. Safe and reliable and sustainable water, sewer, and stormwater systems. Revitalizing town infrastructure. Safe, vibrant, and healthy community. And economic development. These are our focus areas. And so we're not trying to hide it. This is a high tax cost on our town for these board members, for our neighbors, and one of the highest, if not the highest, in the county. But I find it prudent that we do this to execute on the long-term plan for this town and creating a capital improvement plan that hasn't been done in quite some time. I think we have some good steps in place, and I'm ready to move forward. Thank you, Mayor.
I can't top that, so.
Well said, Commissioner Proctor. All right, well, all in favor? Aye. The budget, the motion carries unanimously. Oh, is there any opposed? I can literally see in here. It's unanimous. All right, we're going to move on to agenda item 8B regarding update regarding current GFL recycling agreement. Mr. Roy?
Mayor, we just adopted a budget with a sanitation fund of around $931,000. Included in that fund is a rate structure for your GFL sanitation contract, equivalent to about $13.19 per household per month for their municipal solid waste and recycling. Now, if you think about that, you go, okay, well, what do I get for that? And so what is being proposed, we were tasked with asking GFL if we could realize any cost reduction in the sanitation contract. And so we reached out to GFL, we've had a couple conversations with them, they came here and visited with us, and we've looked at this to see what we could do. At the end of the day, I want you to note, Section 11, it's kind of hard for you to read, I get it, I'm trying to show you the actual agreement that we have in place. But the term for this agreement is through June 30th, 2028. So we've got 3 more years to go on this agreement. And in the agreement, they have the option of actually adjusting the rates based on CPI-U, which is something similar that we do for cost of living adjustments, things of that nature. Look at the cost index and what's happening, and so they can adjust the rates. So that's written into our agreement, that's written into our contract. I think it's a very wise thing to put into a contract. The term might be a little long for us, but at least having those service rates pegged to some type of index makes a lot of sense. So at the current rate, it's $13.19 per household per month for the municipal solid waste. And I will kind of dance around that with some of the stuff about how the county does it, how that kind of looks like in a bigger picture when we talk about sanitation countywide. I just said what I said I'm going to say. Currently, the fee schedule is $3.96 for an annual fee. That's $32 per month for weekly garbage and bi-weekly recycling, and $1 per month for litter control fee, which basically equates to $33 per month. It's just simple raw math, okay? Now what that funds is not necessarily just the garbage truck coming around and picking up your container, right? It funds yard debris. It funds bulk waste items that we pick up with the roll-offs and the knuckle booms. And so the budget down there, even though it says $657,826, it's 2 techs, it's motor fuels, it's debt service, it's GFL contract costs, it's tipping fees. All of those things go into what we call the sanitation budget. So when we go out there, that number right there, for to be exact, $657,826 is wrong. It's $658,026. So there's an error, a Scribner error, but at the end of the day, it's not going to really matter that much in terms of an adjustment. But I want you to keep in mind what those things fund. When I say 2 techs, $78,700, that's just the salary. Doesn't include the benefit side of it, doesn't include the retirement side of it, just the salary for these guys. Both of those positions are currently vacant because we are struggling as a municipality, just like other local governments, just like the private sector, with CDL drivers. So we're having to up the rate to attract CDL drivers, and that's driving some of these conversations about how do we go around and pick stuff up. GFL are struggling with the same thing, having enough CDL drivers qualified to go around and pick up the garbage and pick up the trash. The other point that I think is very important is this tipping fees of $32,000 increase in the per ton. That is likely to go up as an increase because as we roll out some of these infrastructure improvements, revitalization, looking at blight, looking at litter, in these focus areas of this budget, the more stuff that we haul to the landfill, the more we pay in tipping fees. So if I could triple this tipping fee rate by hauling more stuff, you see what I'm saying here? You know, what's the return on that? And how do you manage that internally as a process? And you'll see here that we also have an unrestricted fund balance of $1 million. That's a good thing, because this budget, as Commissioner Palacios said about the beginning of the CIP, we're also looking at capital reserve funds and how do you fund the purchase of these booms, these knuckle booms. So we want that to convert from debt to cash by balancing out what those purchase prices are going to be in the future. And so we're in a position to where we're looking at go ahead and getting additional roll-offs and another truck so that we can take the roll-off. Keep in mind, and I'll get to this at the end, we can take the roll-off and literally put it at somebody's yard and be a solution, not a problem. So we're trying to figure out how to be a solution in the community, not just part of the problem. And I'll focus on that a little bit later. The proposed fee schedule is going from $396 to $368 a year. And notice it includes no recycling. That's where you got to focus. That's where the ball is bouncing. And so it's only of commingling. Now that statistic there is just a Google statistic. I don't know if it's right. It's on the internet. It must be true. Basically what they're talking about is roughly 32% of the American population's recycled, 68% don't. I think time and time again you'll hear about the garbage trucks taking the trash container, dumping it, picking up the recycled container and dumping it. That's what commingling is about. There used to be a term about there's cash and trash, but there's less and less benefit financially. I'm not talking about environmentally and the things that we care about. Financially, for companies to actually recycle, because there's less and less taking of glass, plastics. Right now, the money is in the cardboard. And so if you think in your own household, your pizza box is not recyclable, but your Amazon box that you get shipped in from out of here, all of those things are recyclable. So that's really the piece that's recyclable. The rest of it is just kind of out there and it's commingled, and more people are choosing to throw that away than bother with the recycle. Now I'm just being upfront and honest with you. It's not about environment. This is about the financial component of this and how the companies look at it and how a lot of people look at it as well. So basically what that would equate to is $30.67 per month, or a reduction of about $2.35 per month, or $28 a year. So you can get a $28 reduction in your fee schedule, but have no recycling. None. Okay? And so what you have to do as a policy decision is you have to decide, is it worth reducing the rate by $28 a year and the 32% of the population not being able to recycle? Or is it worth keeping it there where the 68% that don't recycle are now paying that fee too? It's just a balancing act. I don't know the right answer for you as a board. I know how I feel about it as opinion, my own opinion, but that's not what the decision makes. All right, it's the board's decision. It's a policy decision that you guys have to decide on. Cumberland County, I want to do this by comparison, because you think about the local governments, the municipal governments, the county governments, the state governments, and the feds, how all of these different levels of governments deal with certain things. And so if you go to Cumberland County, if you are a Cumberland County resident, listen very carefully to this. If you are a Cumberland County resident and you pay the county $130 per year, all right, this is what you get. It's got to be my wife. I'm sorry. I quieted. I don't know why I was thinking. But yard debris, you can take up to 4 cubic yards per week. Think of the back of a pickup load. Okay, 4 cubic yards. You can take limbs, leaves, pine cones, yard debris, as long as the limbs are no greater than 3 inches in diameter and 3 feet long. All right, you can take 4 cubic yards of that to the landfill and have no charge per week, which is equivalent to, that's per week, Then you start going, well, 4, that's 16 a month, 16 cubic yards. Our roll-offs are anywhere from 20 to 30-yard roll-offs. So it just gives you some idea of how much you can haul if you pay this $130 per year solid waste fee as a Cumberland County resident. If you are in Spring Lake, as a Spring Lake resident, you do not pay this $130 per year to go to the landfill. And so they kind of say you can't go to the convenience stations, you can't do this, you can't do that, or you have to pay additional fees when you go to the tipping fees, if you will, to the landfill. If you take your stuff, that bulky waste, the stuff that we go pick up, all right, the bulky waste, mattress and furniture, you still pay $10 per item, unless you put it everywhere else in Spring Lake. I'm just being honest with you. You don't pay it, you dump it somewhere else. We have got to stop this, okay? I can't imagine the guys, our team, when they go out there to clean up, and the very next week somebody puts something right back there. It doesn't matter if it's tires, mattresses, whatever, construction debris. You'll see there where I put about $800 per roll-off. 2 weekends ago, I might be off on my Saturdays. 2 weekends ago, we had a massive cleanup, and my numbers are going to be close, but we removed 66,000 pounds, which is equivalent to what, 32 tons or something like that, all right, of material. And we hauled it to the landfill, and it cost us $1,600 in tipping fees. Now, it also cost us about $1,600 in labor. I'm suggesting to you to remove 66,000 pounds of stuff in Spring Lake is well worth $3,000. Okay, I think that's a great ROI.
Yeah.
But you have to question what that means. So that's why I come up with this $800 per roll-off, because that's how you start thinking about how are you a solution instead of a problem. If you see tires right there, you can take 5 tires per year, and I highlighted in there free disposal. And I made it red because there's no such thing as free. There's a cost. All right. So if I have to take 5 tires per year, load them in the back of my pickup, and drive them clear across the county to a landfill, there's a cost for me to load them, haul them, come back. It's not free. There's a cost. And so, but it's free disposal because they recycle some of the rubber, those components, they do different things with them. So, but at the end of the day, this is how the solid waste fee is applied in Cumberland County to Cumberland County residents, but not to Spring Lake residents. We don't pay that additional fee. We pay for garbage pickup, sanitation, but we don't pay this additional fee. And so you got to think about how that rolls out and how you do things to go forward. How can we help? You have a policy decision to make about whether there's enough ROI to eliminate recycling to save $28 a year for 68% of the people who don't recycle, or to keep it at that regular rate for the 32% that do recycle, and what do you do with some of those numbers in between? This is a picture we took of a property. I don't remember the address. It's Lee Street somewhere, I believe. Root Street. So someone calls Carly, and I can hear her from the office. And what they're wanting to know is, can we take and put a dumpster out there, a roll-off? And the quick answer is no. But the second right answer should be, why not? Why can't we be part of the solution? So if we took and let them drag all that stuff to the street, right? And then we go by there once a week, pick it up a little bit at a time, we're still hauling it off. We're still paying the tipping fees. Or we can see that one thing covered up with the black plastic or whatever, and consider that a junk pile. We can go out there and write them a citation for a junk pile. Start going through this process, 30 days, 15 days, 30 days, 15 days, fine them for the junk pile, fines go to the school system, then we take and put a special assessment on the property to collect our cleanup fees. We go through all that process, or we simply go, yes, we'll bring you a roll-off, you load it all up, and then we'll charge you the tipping fees, which we're gonna pay anyway, and we're gonna charge you a minimum 2 hours for our drivers at $50 an hour. You know, you can come out of this thing pretty easy for less than $500, and we're part of the solution, not a part of the problem. So I don't like to use the term entrepreneurial too loosely, but we got to stop thinking about what we don't do and what can we do to help be a solution. So if you called and said, hey, do you have a roll-off that you can put here to help me clean up my property? I would go, yeah. Will you get your neighbors to throw stuff in there too while we got it out there? Yeah. Life would be good, right?
Yeah.
Then y'all come together, pay $100, and we'll pay a couple drivers out there. They're hard to come by, and then we'll haul it to the landfill, and then you pay the tipping fees. We call it even. I think everybody wins in the entire community that way. Just start thinking differently about what we're trying to do. And so that's the picture of that property. And so I don't know where we're at with it, but we basically decided that, yes, we will take and have in our fee schedule, in our budget, there's a fee for our personnel. You know, tipping fees is given based on tonnage, how the county handles that. We can do this. We just have to have the decision and will to do it. And I think this is how we can function, to where instead of going down the route of everything being fine, you know, here's the thing: how can we take and help? How can we help you clean up this property? With that, I want to pose to you 3 options. It's clearly your decision to make, and I hope that you will consider. You can keep it the same at $396 per year, which includes 6 pickups monthly. That's 4 garbage, which is 1 per week, and 2 recycling. That's equivalent to about $5.50 per pickup. I guarantee you cannot pay $5.50 to haul 5 tires or 4 cubic yards once a week, once a month, anywhere. $5.50. This is a good deal. It's even sweetened if you turn it to $368 per year, but it's only 4 pickups for garbage. You then eliminate recycling. But notice now when the number goes down, the cost per goes up. So you're not spreading that cost over, you know, the larger pickups. And then finally, you can have the rate remain the same, $396, but without recycling. But some of the fees are converted to additional blight control code enforcement efforts. Jimmy and I have already discussed, when I talked about that unrestricted fund balance, looking at the purchase of a couple more roll-offs and the truck that goes with it, because we find ourselves in a lot of cases where our trucks broke down too. And so if we can start thinking about that, I have a vision, if you will, an idea that I'll go to a cul-de-sac in subdivision on Odell Street, or some subdivision Deerfield, or subdivision wherever, right? And so, in speaking to Mayor Pro Tem Cooper's point the other night about education, I have this thought that if we took a roll-off and we put it in front of Commissioner Palacio's house, then all of us put on bright yellow shirts, and we walked through the community, and we had little door knockers. There's a junk pile, you need to clean it up, it is a code violation, it could result in X, Y, and Z. There's high grass, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. That's your first step, okay? It's this blitz in a subdivision community where, or if you can walk it down here and throw it in the dumpster, we'll come pick it up next week. Now there's a takeaway, other people might put stuff in there. Okay? All right? Where else would they put it? On the side of the street somewhere. So what's the drawback here? You know, what's the loss? I do know that as we move forward through these focus areas, these are some things that we're going to have to consider. I'm not overly concerned with the budget that was just adopted. If you reduce the rate, you simply reduce the expense. That balances. But if you keep the rate and then start having different expenses, then you'll be pulling from fund balance. But I think it would be highly appropriate to try to pull some of that million in fund balance to get the roll-offs and try to help people help themselves. I don't personally see a problem with that. I'll leave it to you guys for those options. What say you? We have to produce a document from the tax collector, tax assessor tomorrow, at what this rate will be, because it's put on your property tax bill. Either 396, 368, or some version in between. But any reduction means the recycling.
All right, well, I will open it up to the board for discussion. Commissioner Palacios?
Can you go back to that slide that had the total fund amount?
There,
Okay. All right, so 657. You said that it's really 658.
yeah, that's the scripter's arrow on the far.
Okay. And if we eliminate $28 per household, what dollar amount are we talking about?
$54,000 if I recall correctly.
Okay. And so how much would you estimate two roll-offs be?
There's 6,000 apiece. Jimmy, I hate to put you on the spot. Do you remember that number off the top of your head? The cost is in the truck, not the roll-off.
Okay, so 6,000 apiece.
I think all in on it was about $80,000. These are about the truck and the roll-offs.
A truck and
Yeah.
roll-offs, 80,000 total. Okay. So then just had my notes on. Okay. How long have those vacancies been open?
One of them's been the whole year. The other one's hit and miss. I don't particularly like to talk about personnel stuff, but one guy that we hired basically come in and says, well, I'm gonna take a break when I wanna take a break. I don't do that. You know, I do this. I don't do that. Nothing goes well when people say that's not my job.
Okay. So we're talking about 78,000 in personnel expenses, which is the amount that you're talking about would be the cost of roll-off of the truck.
Pretty much.
Okay. To eliminate 28,000 in recycling. So
$28 per year or
$28
$54,000 in expenses and revenues to convert.
54,000 for this cost. So I'm not in favor of this. I think that we have, almost my whole neighborhood recycles, and if you eliminate whether it's true recycling or not, it's a can that's out there that people are utilizing. And to not see those blue containers or green containers or whatever, it's a lot of waste that are just going to be accumulating some other way. And then we're talking about having to recoup all those trash cans. I don't know how that would work, or if people just got to keep their trash cans. In GFL, it's difficult we can't even get a count on the true inventory that we have in our town. So I think that's an issue as well. So maybe I haven't articulated it well, but anyway, I'm against it. I think it's fine as is, and we can still, in my opinion, we have the unrestricted funds to still get the roll-offs and the trucks to accomplish this and convert to a system where we tell residents, hey, you can do your part, and we can do something greater here and clean up, like your incendiaries. Okay, I'm done.
Understood.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Thank you, Mayor. Can you go back to slide maybe 2? One more. Let's see this. Somewhere I saw in here that there is one trash can per household, one recycling.
Yeah, right there at the bottom,
For $8
part.
for additional household unit. So as we look at this, as I drive through town, oftentimes I see 2, 3, 4 cans that are out there. I think it is imperative that we get an accurate count, that we either hold ourselves or we hold GFL accountable for this, so that our tax dollars are accounted for. If somebody wants 2 cans and they pay the extra fee, I'm good with it. But if they're not, it's costing every single resident out there something. And Mr. Rory, as you talked about that, that's something that we have to protect our tax dollars so that it is spent wisely. So I think that's one of the things that we need to address. Recycling, I see a lot of recycles out there, just as Commissioner Palacio said. Is it being used? Maybe, maybe not. So with all the cardboard that you said that Amazon, I've got people that Amazon is their best friends. So I think we need to keep the recycle going. It's not that much of a cost savings, but for the environment, I think that's important that we look at that. We're working on getting code enforcement. So as we look at these different things, getting code enforcement involved in this. Part of it, we've educated our residents a lot, and now it's coming time to do the enforcement. And if it happens to you, it sucks to be you, but it's something that needs to be addressed. For many years, the bulk pickup has drove around aimlessly, driven the routes, wasting gas, wear and tear on our vehicles. It would be just as easy for them to call in and schedule a pickup, track the pickup, so as those that are using and abusing it, they can be the ones that would have to pay additional fees. A lot of times that was brought back in the early days, so as soldiers were moving out, that homeowner could get a free pickup of all that stuff that Joe left there to get picked up. We haven't addressed it since the 70s and 80s, but it's something that we need to look at and do. But I do applaud your initiative of out-of-the-box thinking so that a roll-off dumpster can be placed in the neighborhood. They get together, pay for that fee. I love that idea. But we've got to start somewhere. I think code enforcement is going to be huge in addressing the illegal dumping that's done in the town and start addressing this. But as Commissioner Palacio said, I don't see the benefit of removing the recycle, and I'm good keeping it what it is. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Thompson?
I just want to know, what are we benefiting from recycling anyway, because we don't get anything from it, do we?
Other than just the environment, we don't collect anything for the recycled materials.
And then a lot of
Except for the
times,
aluminum side.
Right.
We do that with the burn children.
and I've seen where, I've been a witness to where they drove around my cul-de-sac, picked up my trash, and then drove around and put the recycling in the same bin, you know? So, I mean, it's like, straddle the fence, but if they're not picking it up, every other week like they supposed to anyway, sometimes you don't get it at all, so. I'd say,
Okay.
I'm done.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. I too, I see people who are not using the recycling properly. I mean, I've seen TVs in the recycled trash can and it gets picked up like that. So are we really recycling? I know that, the 18-year-old I have in my house puts strange stuff in the recycled trash can that I've had to pull out. So, when I catch it, but I'm just saying, I don't think we're not benefiting from it. I don't think it's being used properly. When I first moved here, the GFL would stick with the trash can if there was something that was blaring, but again, as Adrian said, they're driving the same truck. The guy picked up my regular trash and he said, I'll be back to pick up that one. And he came back in the same truck because I looked at the number. So I don't think we're recycling our revenue.
Commissioner Taylor?
I just, I think it should be, where our community makes a decision, because basically every household is different and it should be according to each household whether they want to recycle or not. And I think the community should have a great input about whether we should have recycle or not recycle. I think it should be up to our citizens.
Commissioner Thompson, did you have something else?
Oh, no. I'm gonna say, we are the voice for the citizens.
Yes, we're the voice, but I mean, they also have an input as well, and I think that they should, I think it's important that they have a say. 68% don't and 32% don't do, and they decide that people coming, their input is important as well.
Well, we didn't have anybody sign up for public comments and the agenda's been out, so I would consider that, their voice. Commissioner Parkman?
So if we don't make a decision, then you still have to submit to the county what our fee schedule is, right?
In the morning, yes.
Okay, so if we keep it the same and delay a decision on this, what happens based on that?
I'll tell you that I have additional proposals that'll come to you throughout the year. So if you opted to stay at 396, and we'll get another year's of data. I still want to roll out, as Commissioner Lackman talked about, a scheduled pickup. I think this aimless wandering around, to pick up this and pick up that, and yard debris, you got rows all the way down the road. I've had to go out there and talk to people. There'll be piles and there'll be limbs this big, and they expect us to pick them up. No. So I have an entire ordinance that I have drafted, but it would be premature to do it tonight. I just think that we can submit it at 396, leave it at that for a year, but know that I also don't think we're really getting recycling. Now that's my opinion. I think we're paying for it, but we really don't get it. But people can choose to do that and not choose to do that.
Okay, if we maintain it at 396 a year, which is what our citizens expect anyways, we maintain it at 396, and next meeting, we decide that we're gonna eliminate recycling. We don't have to do anything special for that. It's just a contract between us and GFL, is that correct?
Yes, and I
Okay.
think the reason I mentioned the contract term, I do think you need to renegotiate that contract in the near future. I don't think you should hold out until 2028. The numbers, the counts, the accuracy, I do think that that's something that should be a topic of concern for the board.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I also wanted to echo, having a schedule. I see, when I lived in Greensboro, you had certain weeks that they would come to your community to pick up your leaves, instead of us wandering around every neighborhood every week. So I would definitely, propose a schedule for picking up, leaves. I even think Fayetteville has certain weeks for different neighborhoods, so I think that would be a great idea. Because, I sit at my desk at my window and watch them pick up this little bit of grass every week.
Could I make a suggestion? How about we task one of our focus groups to look at this issue, and then we report back to the board by the 1st of August?
That's a good idea.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I can share with them the ordinance provisions that I've drafted, with thoughts, and get some engagement. Okay?
Yes.
Just an opportunity to kind of discuss it. Cup of coffee or something.
Definitely.
So that's what we'll do. No motion tonight, we'll just,
Yeah.
I will be doing 396.
396 again, so,
Okay.
okay. All right, we will move on to agenda item 8C, Mayor's Report, which will be really quickly. I only have a few things for you. Happy 4th of July, because we won't see you through the month of July. We have postponed our meetings for that month to give us some much needed brain relaxation. I know our manager and staff have been pushed to the limits drafting this budget. And so get some much needed times off and some surprises when you guys come back to the boardroom. So look forward to that. There's a heat advisory. It's hot outside right now, but it's going to get hotter, so please stay hydrated. Check on your neighbors, check on your pets, check on your vegetables, because my cucumbers were a little wilted today. It's hot. First Friday on Main is happening beginning in August, so look out for, if you're interested in being a vendor or sponsor, make sure you reach out to our clerk via email. clerk@townofspringlake.com. That is the best way for us to track it and get back to you. Lunch with the mayor is tomorrow at K-Food on Bright Boulevard at 12 p.m. So come out and have some lunch with me if you like. And that is all that I have. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I will continue to attend the municipal finance classes. They are online. Staff can attend them, board members can attend them, and they are free. There are also, they have a series on, God, I can't think of it now. Resilience, I think it is, the North Carolina League of Municipalities. Those are also free. And, that's all I have.
Commissioner Thompson?
The only thing I have, there will be no cops in conversation, this month. It will be next month, but we're trying something new. So if you have a community group or a church or someone that where you would like to sponsor the meeting for us to come to you, that's something that we're trying to do so we can get the community more involved. That's all I have.
Awesome. Commissioner Lockhart?
Mayor, you know I always got a few things to talk about. Okay. One of the initiatives that I believe you were the one that started this was the barricades that were done. And so the schools were tasked with coming up with some designs and had free reign to do whatever that they wanted. And so we wanted to highlight the schools that had participated in this and the barricades that have been moved back over at the basketball courts. So this one up here, front and back, is Manchester. This one here is our Spring Lake Middle School, both front and back. And this one here is W.T. Brown Elementary School, both front and back. And so I put this out there so that one of the residents can see what's going on, what's being done in our town. But I kind of put a challenge out there. We had one person that didn't want to vote. She votes on the board, but she wasn't willing to vote on this, so I thought that was a bit odd. But overwhelmingly, Manchester was the one that the people on social media had chosen. 47, Spring Lake Middle had 6, W.T. Brown had 15. So the takeaway from this is that our schools got involved. Our children got involved in this. And this is something that I hope will continue. And that next year, it'll be a clean slate for them to come up with ideas. So right now, the gauntlet has been thrown out there. They came up with this idea, and this is what they've got, and this is what we have from our young minds of the future. So I'm proud of each of the schools that participated in this. I'm glad to see that they had some creative art that they brought forward. Okay, the cleanups, as Mr. Rory had talked about. You look there on June 7th and you see 66,000, that is not a typo, that is 66,240 pounds of debris that was cleaned up. And that's with 7 volunteers. I got probably the hardest working man sitting out there in the audience that never likes any publicity. So Charles, thank you. And then we had 5 town employees out there that were busy working. So that is a lot of debris. That's, as Mr. Rory said, the tipping fees is $1,600. That is what we're doing. We're striving to make Spring Lake better. And it's one Saturday a month. It's one cleanup at a time. We are making a difference. It is getting better. Just got to start putting all these pieces together to get this done. And you see for the year we're at 87,600.
That's impressive.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Carly, is that my last one? Okay. And so lastly, Veterans Park. Been talking, we've seen the transformation, we've seen the evolution, not just of laying sod, but the building of a park. And that's due to the town, the employees, our organizations, our individuals that were out there busy, that's taking this idea and bringing it to fruition. So Mr. Roy and I have talked about doing a rededication of Veterans Park. And we're looking at, during the hot part of the day, we're looking at Friday, July 18th at 3 o'clock, so that our town employees afterwards, they're back in Mr. Roy's hands on that. But it's our way of telling them thank you for making something beautiful, for working on this and doing, just moving heavens and earth to get this done. So July 18th, Friday at 3 p.m., the public is invited, encouraged to come out there. There will be a plaque that's going to be placed out there and dedicated for Veterans Park. This is a beautiful park. This is something I'm extremely proud of. Mr. Roy, town employees, thank you all very much for the hard. And Jimmy was even out there working, so all right. So please come out and enjoy and celebrate with us as we rededicate Veterans Park. That's it for me, Mayor.
Commissioner Palacios?
Nothing for me, Mayor, thank you.
I think he might have a fever. Commissioner Chadwick?
I just want to reiterate what the mayor was saying about the extreme weather and heat. If you know anyone that does not have air conditioning, we do have cooling stations at the social services and the library. Okay? Because we want everyone to stay as cool as possible. And no further updates.
Awesome. Mr. Roy?
I want to capitalize, I'm not going to say a lot, but I want to capitalize on the comments of others and echo. So, yes, we will have a rededication of Veterans Park. That day, we're going to have ice cream, milkshakes, or milk and sugar, depending on the weather. But, we're going to do that for all the staff. I am extremely pleased with their performance, digging in, getting it done. We have future plans as well for our park facilities. One of those is this paint the town with these barricades. And so what they didn't tell you was that it started off with, they're put over there, they've been in the woods for years, will somebody please go move them? So what we did was we painted over the DOT serial numbers that are on those barricades. DOT hasn't missed them. They hadn't called us for them. And so, but we refer to those things as little bets. So we're trying to take little bets all across town. And these little bets add value and quality of life with simple little things that you can just free your mind and say, what can we do? I am pleased with Manchester's artwork, if you will, without discussing it as artwork. I'm equally pleased with the fire department's artwork on the dumpster out here. There's a little raccoon that they painted on the dumpster behind City Hall, if you haven't seen it. The first one they painted, GFL come and stole it from us, took it somewhere else. It had nice flowers on it. And then they've done the Dalmatian in front of the fire station. We've asked them to do a cop in front of the annex, but they said, no, they're not going to do no cops. So, sorry, I just wanted to have a little fun. I don't want to talk about anything else, but just a little fun. Thank you for the time.
Mr. Porter?
Just briefly, second meeting in a row I've attended, and only missed the last one, where Commissioner Lackman's shirt would match my suit perfectly.
I look great today.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, I need to shop where you shop. But no, other than that, the only thing I'll say is, Commissioner Palacios announced that he wasn't going to be running again, and I know it's a little early, but I'll be sad to see him go. It's been an honor to serve with him. We've still got time. Like I said in that Facebook post, we still have work to do. But other than that, I have nothing. Sorry for missing the last meeting. I was not feeling good at all, but feeling better a little bit. I think Carly's getting what I had. She's sneezing over here. But I have nothing. Thank you.
Well, just so you know, I won't be telling anybody until December, so. Thank you all for coming out. Meeting adjourned.